Okay, so on to Taurus Ascendant. So in this forecast, I'm really going to be looking at the 4 seasons and how they play out and what their purpose are, especially in reflection of where you are right now. And you'll see I've kind of paced them out a little bit. I've coloured them out. We're just going into this one here, which is really highlighting your 3rd, 4th and 5th house, where you've been from the start of spring. That's if you're in the northern hemisphere, or autumn if you're in the southern hemisphere. Literally from March, the March equinox. You've been on quite a whirlwind, I have to say, quite a ride. It started off, and this is what you've been completing on, by the way. I think, March time is a time that often, surprises you. It's a time when you often feel quite quiet, quite reserved, just want to be left alone. You don't want too much of a fuss around you. You just want to be able to take your time, crack on with the things you want to do, and reflect a bit. It's a good time to journal. It's a good time to do stuff for you that's quiet, it's reflective, that's maybe book learning. It's sort of rewinding your mind a little bit. It's not necessarily a time when you're full, like to the brim of confidence. It's not a time when you're wanting to take on the world. It's a time when you're wanting to withdraw. And soon after, and this is, quite helpful, as you get into April, you start to spring up again. You start to get a little bit more excited. It's almost like you're really clearing out what goes on in your mind, so that as you come around to the time of your birthday at the end of April, you're really raring to go. It's like you feel the warmth of the sun. Again, that's if you're in the northern hemisphere, but it just feels like it takes you a little bit of time to get your motor started. And then from mid-April onwards, it feels like you're on your journey again. And then as you went into the Gemini time, towards the end of May, it's that time when you start to realize your intrinsic value and what you're really gifting the world with. You get a real sense of what you're here to do, what your purpose is, a little bit to do with your legacy, really. Like, how does your personality really bring out the flavor of why you're here? That's what occurs to me. And one of the things about this time is, whilst you're learning all that about yourself, you've also been surprised. There's always these opposing houses that are also playing out at the same time. So last season, as you were starting it, you were a little bit kind of, really not feeling this, and at the same time really being stressed out, being encouraged to get very, very organized at home. And it's the sort of juxtaposition between the two of them. When you're really just wanting to relax, you're really being pulled back into the real world, and it's kind of shocking, and it's really quite raw and quite annoying. And then as you're coming into yourself and waking up, it feels like everyone wants a piece of you. Everyone wants to comment on you. Everyone wants you to come to their parties and do this, that, and the other. It feels like, whilst you're wanting to develop yourself, everybody else is wanting your attention. And so that's quite a big tension. And then literally where you've just been in identifying your unique value, it feels like you've had to share yourself a little bit too far and fast. And so as you're coming into this new season now, your fresh start, I think, is to sort of reclaim who you are, reclaim what you consider your gift to be, and then to deliver it out into the local environment. I really see the 3rd house as being quite a social place. It's like the cosmic marketplace. It's the marketplace. It's your local community. It's all your friends. It's who knows you the best. The people that you kind of know and love, and the people that are a little bit like the furniture in your town. They all like move around, and you're all, like you recognize faces. It's that sense of belonging. And I think actually in this month ahead, as you're coming into this time, what's really going on is you're starting to feel a little bit more familiar, and you're starting to share your value out there a little bit more than you have in recent times. So it's all a progression, and this is a yearly thing. This is the time of year when you start to open your doors a little bit wider and to venture out into your local community. Now, at the same time, the tension is that other opportunities are coming in from quite a distance. It's like you want to be focused around, where you feel quite safe, where you want to develop your ideas, where you want to get a little bit of feedback about what you've learned about yourself and what your new ideas are. And yet it feels like there are energies from far away really trying to pull you away from what you're comfortable with. It just feels like there's energies really saying, look, you need to be over here. You need to be learning this and sharing that and this, that, and the other. And the ninth house is really quite far out. It really is quite an adventure, and it might just be a little bit too much for you right now. So that's a bit of a challenge. As you start to put yourself out there, it's almost like the flavor is picked up on, and there comes up these opportunities to race out into a new direction. And what I would say is there is a time and place to do that, and it's probably not right now, unless you really feel you've got the resources for it. But you're still in this, whilst you're coming around your houses, as the sun's coming around through all these different houses, it naturally picks up more resources as it's going around. And so I would say you're still learning things here. You're still testing your new value. You're still playing with it. You're still making more friends, making more contacts. If you were to run straight out into this part of the world right now, you might feel so much tension and pressure because you're not quite developed. You're not quite resourced enough for it. So, it might actually almost be counter-effective. So it's a bit of a struggle to sort of stay balanced. But your opportunity really is to belong more and more. And over this season, you're developing your value. You're really kind of showing who you are and really enjoying it. And it's having a knock-on effect on your family. It feels like there's more resources at home for your family. It feels like there's an ease at home. It feels like your attention can be a lot more based around your home, your family, and how things work. And it's also a resting place. This can be quite a busy time. So I really think until the end of July, as we come into Leo time, really what's going on is you're sort of being quite sort of here, there, and everywhere, and being quite active. And yet, actually, as you get into the middle of this season, you start to slow right down and just want to really enjoy being where you are with the people that you love the most, which leads us on to the last part of this season, which is about creating from that place of joy. So I really see this season is you exploring your value and enjoying it, and then feeling like you're sharing sort of intimately with the people that you love, and really coming back to your core, coming back to your original roots. And then you're starting, as you relax into it, it feels like more ideas come up, and you start to things start to percolate. Joyful opportunities, joyful things. You see, the challenge and what to watch out for, like I've already said, it feels like you're being pulled too far into your future, pulled too far into a new project, pulled too far into a new state of learning, or a new form of belief systems or knowledge, or I don't know. It's almost like it's trying to expand your mind too far. And actually, really all you want to do is allow your joy to lead you. Because if you allow yourself to feel your value and to share it in your marketplace, like in your local community, and then really enjoy spending time with the people that you love, your natural sense of joy is going to come up and bring up some new ideas, and they're the ones to follow. So are you going to lead by other people saying this is what you need to do, look at all these ideas, or are you just going to allow joy to come up and tell you the next step? And that's what I would say is the wiser thing to do, is allow yourself to really tune in to what is working for you, and what is the path of least resistance, but also what is the path of most increased levels of joy. Something else to watch out for in this next season, and that would be the. In fact, before I go there, I just want to talk about the opportunity in this season, which that should actually be in yellow. But one of the opportunities in this season is the more you're doing this, the more your ability to receive and earn more is coming up. So it's like as you're following the natural impulse to imbibe your life or inform your life based on your joy and based on that sense of creativity that comes from feeling okay, that leads to greater wealth. It's not being out here that's doing that. It's being here, down here, that is really generating that sense of kind of peace that leads to a greater level of abundance. And the gift is actually really based on, I think, the simple knowing of who you are, the uncomplicated view. And I'll come back to that at the end. But some of the challenges, what to watch out for. So I've already mentioned that you're likely to be pulled out of your center. And of course, this is the center point here. You're going to be pulled out. Lots of people are going to be trying to capture your attention, trying to tantalize you, trying to get you out of your normal situation, which is actually where you need to be right now. And it also feels like work is there. There is a sense of, I need to be at the office, or I need to be working on this proposal, or I need to be working on my promotion. I need to be working on these really big things. And to do that, I'm going to need to network, and I'm going to need to connect here, and I'm going to need to do that. And what I really get here is this is a really questing side of your chart. It comes from a very sort of externalized push. And what I guess what I want to bring about an understanding of, when you wake up, you probably want to take a few minutes before you start chatting to people and saying good morning, or having your first drink. Like you wake up, you might actually want to just stretch your muscles a little bit. You might want to roll your shoulders back before you dive right into what the next thing is happening. You need that time to warm yourself up, warm your muscles up, warm your mind up, warm your soul up, warm everything up. Whereas, this focus here, which is like, I need to be outwardly successful, outwardly doing this, outwardly connected to friends, It's almost like you get up, but you don't allow your whole mind body system to warm up with you. And this is like, this is like your natural time of the year where you're warming up. This is the natural time of the year where you're allowing the sun to just completely fill you up with, sunniness and like creativity that comes from just resting, relaxing, reflecting, and enjoying things. Later on this year, you'll certainly get this impulse to be very outward, but it's not quite just yet. So what I'm going to come to now is just a little bit about the new moons and the full moons. So all the new moons over this season are down in this sector. Again, the new opportunities for you, the new ways of being, the new space and possibilities for you are all creating from the sense of your local community, from that sense of a belonging, having friends, having a shared level of knowledge, a shared context that you have with people that live in your area or come from a similar background, or, have a similarity. It's like the law of similars. So there is this like new moon in Cancer on the 5th of July. And that's absolutely asking you to dive into your local community and to really feel the excitement and the simplicity of it. And then the next new moon is the simplicity and joy of diving into the home and being simple, not being complicated, like refreshing your home. Any complications that you've got at home, get rid of them. Anything that is drawing you out of relaxation at home, get rid of it. Just let it go. Give it away to somebody, or let somebody else manage it. This is a new opportunity for you to feel a greater sense of belonging at home. And a greater connectedness. And then on the 3rd of September, with the new moon in Virgo, you know, the new start is in terms of what you might want to birth, you know, from where your joy is coming up. Now, that could be intimacy related. The 5th house is absolutely intimate and sexual and sensuous. It's also quite romantic and gentle. Gentleness and fun, I think, are really, really important here. But it's also about the love we might have for our children. And it's also very much about the things we absolutely adore doing, the things that light us up, the things that create a spark in us. So these new moons, they're gentle, they're fun, they're surprising, they're not really stressful, they're not high powered, they're not wearing shoulder pads and you know, they are absolutely sneakers and comfortable shoes, you know, and comfortable legging type new moons. They are not about they're not all what's that phrase I heard someone say? It's like wearing a fur coat but no knickers. It's not like that. That's what like the top of the chart is like, you know, where you're putting on a big old show but maybe not have anything underneath it. Whereas this is all about what's underneath. This is all about the substance and the joy and the simplicity of that. Conversely, the full moons as they come across. So we've got our first one in 2 days' time on the 22nd of June, the second one on the 21st of July. Both of these are in the sign of Capricorn. So, you know, if you've got any planets around these degrees at the beginning of Capricorn, at the end of Capricorn, these could really pull you out of your sense of what normal is. Really, truly, you know, it's really trying to get your attention and almost freak you out a little bit. You know, it's really like pulling at everything that you hold dear in terms of what you consider to be how life is wired, you know, your knowledge about the real world. And then the full moon in Aquarius is particularly, I think, strong for you because it's in your 10th house. It's at the end of Aquarius. It's really quite strong, really getting you to, you know, consider your career. You know, it's going to be talking to you in terms of don't sit on your bum at home. You need to be out there. You know, money, don't waste a minute kind of thing. Now, the last full moon, which is taking place on the 18th of September, this is in a conjunction with Neptune. I see this as a little bit depressive. I also see this as quite deceiving. And also possibly really, really creative. You know, that kind of creativity where people can absolutely space out and not quite know where they begin and end, you know, almost kind of like a you know, a dope smoker's paradise sort of opportunity of creativity, you know, where you're kind of slightly stoned, slightly, you know, far out kind of thing. So it's quite an interesting full moon where anything goes really. However, it's in the 11th house, and you may well find that there's not so much definition between you and your friends, and that things are, you know, getting so far out of control with your friends and your networks that you might actually want to stay out of the fray. What I would absolutely recommend you do around that time is to create individually rather than be out there socializing on a major way. Last thing I want to sort of pull your attention to, and that's the Mercury retrograde that starts on the 4th of August to the 28th of August. It starts at 4 degrees in the sign of Virgo and heads back into the sign of Leo. To me, what this is saying is there is a creative process going on. There is definitely a creative process going on as you're going through the season, and yet your best creativity comes out from where you are creating something that's helpful for home, helpful for family, that's going to work with your own family and home kind of rhythm. If you're trying to create something that doesn't include your family or doesn't include or work with the rhythm of your home and family, it's likely to go a little bit wonky. You know, it's not likely to come out in the best way. So I really see that this Mercury retrograde is asking you, hang on a sec, how can you tie this back into home? How can you tie this into your direct experience? And how can you then reword it and rework it. And I think if you can do that, you'll ace it. So there you go, Taurus Ascendant. It's quite a lot of information there, very much about the natural rhythms of these seasons and what they represent to you on a year by year basis, but also that this is just a time to allow yourself to relax. You know, don't allow yourself to move before you're ready. And of course, the Taurian way of being is not like that anyway. But it's, you know, if I could give you just one word, I would say luxury. Allow the luxury of simplicity to just permeate through this whole season, and you'll be just fine. So there you go. Lots of love to you. If you want any help at all, or you want to hang out in a consultation, then just, you can find all my details below. Just give me a shout and we'll take it from there. But anyway, lots of love to you, and catch you in another forecast real soon. Bye for now.